Hello everyone, Nathaniel Gavronsky here, and I'm in Centerville, Iowa. I'm on the south side of the square here in Napanese County in southern Iowa. Centerville is a beautiful city. It's got a nice fresh blanket of snow on it, and it's embroiled in controversy over a nativity scene that was placed upon the city square earlier by city organizers, organizers of the city decorations for the city of Centerville on the Napanese County Courthouse. Now, the nativity scene was moved over to where I am standing, which is just south of the city square, and I'm going to take you over to it here just in a minute. I'm going to kind of show you where we are at. There's a big church right behind me. There's a big highway. This is one of the major streets here in Centerville. So the nativity scene is actually more visible for everyone in town where it currently sits. But that's not really the point here, at least what the people are trying to say. There's a petition right now to make the nativity scene permissible to be put back onto the city square and onto the county courthouse lawn. And I wanted to discuss a little bit about why this is so significant. I want to make a full disclosure. I'm Jewish, okay? I'm not Christian. I don't celebrate Christmas. I'm out of this fight. But I want to talk about what is going on here and why it should matter to everybody, okay? The nativity scene is showing, for those of you who don't understand, this is where the birth of Jesus took place in the city of Bethlehem. He was born in a manger because they weren't able to find anywhere else for him, for the Mary and Joseph to go when they were traveling, and they were required to travel back to Nazarene, where Joseph was born, due to a Roman request for a census, which means all the males had to return to their cities of birth. And so that's what made them travel. That's why they ended up in Bethlehem, and that happens to be why Jesus was born in a manger. Just to kind of get the background of why the significance is of this. Now, the manger is more like a barn. That's why there were farm animals involved. Okay, that's just the reason why they're there. Now, the significance of this as being Jesus Christ's birthday, it's obviously very kind of arbitrary, because Christmas was selected for December 25th. It wasn't the original day. But that's all beside the point. The fact is, this has a huge religious significance for many Christians around the world. And I understand there's a difference between, and a separation between church and state, and that's absolutely fine. But a county courthouse is not just a place where our birth certificates, our death certificates, our marriage licenses, our business licenses, our tax and deeds, our all of our records are kept. It's so much more than just a county governmental building. In Iowa and across the country, actually, courthouses are kind of a cultural significant center for the communities in which they serve. For Centerville, for example, this is where our major our major festivals take place every year on Pancake Day. When Ragbri comes through, they always come to the Centerville Square. Our city square here is actually really, really well known as being the largest city square in the world, because they basically laid out being double the size of every other square that was built. So it has a huge significance to this town, not only because of the government business that takes place on the county courthouse, but this is where the community comes. This is where all of our cultural festivals and events take place. That matters to a community. If you look at holidays, every holiday that we celebrate, other than that of like Independence Days, or because of a significant individual like Martin Luther King, or like International Women's Day, is actually originates over a woman in Germany, and they wanted to celebrate her life, and it has a huge significance on everybody, and so that's why, as a cultural, that's why Europe and mostly the former Soviet states celebrate International Women's Day on March 8th, why we celebrate Independence Day on July 4th, why there's Bastille Day in France, why all of those holidays, because it was their independence. So religious events, wars which cost the death of thousands, or an individual who had a huge impact on the lives of millions within a culture, within a community, which the birth of Jesus Christ would have also followed within the individual who had a huge significance on the lives of millions as far as the cultural attributions go. So look at St. Valentine's Day. It's religious. People say, well, I'm atheist, but they still they do St. Valentine's Day. St. Patrick's Day, they go out and drink a bunch of green beer. It's St. Patrick. It's religious. You look at holidays like Halloween. Halloween is originally a religious holiday. In fact, my video did on Halloween. All Hallows Eve originates to Old English, which is All Hallows, which was how you say All Saints Day, but it's the night before All Saints Day. Like Christmas Eve is the night before Christmas. All Hallows Eve was the night before All Saints Day, and so Halloween is religious. Even before it became like a Christian holiday, it was their New Year for the Celtics in northern France and in the British Isles. It had a lot of religious attributes to it. Thanksgiving, the whole point of the word Thanksgiving was to give praise and thanks to God for delivering you from suffering. The very first Thanksgiving in North America, if you saw my video on Thanksgiving, took place in the 1540s with a bunch of Spanish explorers going into what is now Texas. After that, it was in Florida by a bunch of religious refugees from France. They were giving Thanksgiving that they had found a new home and they weren't being slaughtered for their religious views. It wasn't for decades later that the first British colony had their Thanksgiving, and it was them praising God that supplies had arrived from England and they weren't going to starve. That happened a decade or so before the Pilgrims even got here. And again, the Pilgrims' celebration of Thanksgiving was basically giving praise and thanks to God for a bountiful harvest in 1621. It is religious in its very nature. Christmas is a Christ Mass. It's where they go to have a Mass in the celebration of Jesus Christ, who is their Savior within the Christian religion. It's not oppressing anyone. I'm a Jew. This doesn't oppress me. It doesn't have... They're celebrating the birth of a Jew. Why would that offend me? It's a cultural attribute that everyone celebrates from. Everyone gets to enjoy the benefits from. It's not oppressive. We don't make people celebrate Christmas. We don't make people put Christmas trees in their homes. We don't make people do that. It's not the government enforcing religion upon other people. It's the government that should be allowing people to celebrate their religion. It works both ways. It's just the same as the freedom of expression, to be able to express your religion freely. And by not allowing Christians to celebrate and, kind of visualize and do their religious holidays in a free and open manner, you're just as oppressive as you say that they are, even more so. And I honestly, I talked to a few other people here in town that are atheists, and this doesn't bother them. This doesn't offend them. They don't care. They just kind of want to live their life and be merry. But I asked them, do you celebrate Valentine's Day? Like, yeah, I love flowers on Valentine's Day. Like, would you go drink on St. Patrick's Day? Yeah, I love green beer. They're not doing this because Christianity offends them. They're not doing this because it somehow prevents them from being able to be atheist or non-Christian or being Jew or Muslim. Like, the Muslims talk about this. Islam talks about the birth of Jesus. In fact, in their book of Revelations, when the end of days comes by, not only does Jesus come back, but Muhammad comes back with him, along with Moses. So they don't see Christianity as being oppressive in the sense of just the intrinsic value of a Christian being oppressive. I don't know many Jews that really care either. I mean, again, celebrating the birth of a Jew, I don't understand why Jews would find this at all offensive. I mean, would I like to see a menorah out here? Yeah, but you know how small a menorah is? How big a barn is? I mean, it would kind of get buried in the first snowfall. You know, we have ours. We have... The Christians have one night. We have 8. This doesn't offend me. But you want to know what I think? Do you want to know what I think this is? This is my honest opinion. The reason why people throw a fit and say that this is offensive is not because it's actually offensive, because they can say that it is. They can make people move things. They can make people change the way they celebrate their holidays. They can make people change against their will. And that's just a form of control. I can control the way you celebrate and observe your holidays because I can. Not because I share in your religious beliefs, but because I choose not to, and I want to control how you celebrate your religion and how you celebrate your religious beliefs. Do you want to know the other thing that has that much control in common? Domestic violence. If you go and talk to any domestic violence shelter, the one thing that they're going to talk to you most is the origination of the use of power, and the abuse is to control the other spouse. And it's not just male on female domestic violence, it's female on male on female, male on male domestic violence. There's no actual dominance as far as who is abusive. It's really not. 48% of all domestic violence victims are men. But what makes domestic violence a problem is the use of control on one person over another. And I think that's the true story of oppression. And I think that's true. I mean, I think that's truly offensive to who we are as a culture. Not a nativity scene, not a religion, not a holiday in which a lot of people share in common, even if they don't use or view or observe the religious connotations of it. Just the gift giving, the Santa Claus, the Coca-Cola, the turkey. I think that if you want to celebrate those aspects of it, that you have to acknowledge that the origins of the day are much deeper than even if you don't celebrate them. And to deny people the right to observe their holidays in the way they see fit is truly offensive. And I want people to think about that when they talk about what really is offensive to them and to their families and what kind of world they want to live in. To where if absolutely everything offends you and all you want to do is control other people's behavior to more or less solidify and be along your lines of what you think is right, you are the problem, not a nativity scene. I'm sorry, I'm just being blatantly honest. Anyone who has any comments, please leave them below. And everyone in Centerville, please feel free to comment on what your views are on this. I know there's a lot of people who are going to be like, "Oh, we just don't want to see it on there because it celebrates religion." Okay, whatever. But I don't want to see you celebrating any other holidays at all. Period. Like none. Because when they celebrated, when they did the Declaration of Independence, talks about God. Where in the Constitution, there's God. Everything in Western civilization that you benefit from has an origin somewhere, somehow, even if it's so small significance. Talks about God. You don't have to believe in an afterlife. You don't have to believe in any of that stuff. That's fine. I'm not going to make anyone do that. I think everyone should have their own relationship with what they want to think of as the afterlife. But the benefits that they have gotten in the world they live in, Western civilization, the freest, most wealthiest society on the planet, the majority of the people who did those things to give you the comfort that you have, did it in the name of God. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. Yeah. You know, here's the other thing. Hanukkah coming up. I got a great video about that coming up about Hanukkah. It's both religious and war. Jews know how to throw a party, I tell you what. Anyway, and it's played with fire. So check out my video on Hanukkah coming up. I'll do that on it should upload on the 22nd. I got a really awesome Hanukkah sweater for it. Everyone else, all my best. Take care. Stay healthy, stay wealthy, stay wise. And as always, stay classy, Iowa.